Hello. So I was on a group coaching call last week, and one of the women in the call was asking me about my tips for working from home. And for me, it's actually been a really interesting transition of working from home. In this time now, I have been working from home for the last year and a half, actually. But previously, I was working as a nurse in a hospital. And so going from running all around the hospital, like moving a ton, literally not sitting down ever, being physically exhausted after that, to then, as I transitioned gradually over the last 5 years, been working in my own business, coaching clients one-on-one. This last year and a half has been working from home for me. So it has been definitely a big difference and a big transition. And so I wanted to share a little bit about some of the tips that I have for this, and these might be a little bit different than some of the things that you've been hearing or reading. I've seen a couple, blogs and posts and things circulating. So I'm going to talk less about like setting and space and more about how we personally move through the day and how we can support our energy and how we can support productivity as well when we're working from home, because I know it's really different. And that's what some of these women in the group were saying, is that it's just felt hard to find the right boundaries with it. And for me, definitely, it's been an experience trying to figure that out. So I think the biggest thing when you're working from home is to be able to have some good boundaries. And the way that I like to think of this is in my transitions in the day. So I recently did a podcast all about creating a morning routine and the importance of a morning routine and starting your day like with intention. And so I won't talk too deep into that. I can put a link to that podcast episode. But starting your day with intention and being able to have a little bit of time and space to decide how you want to feel that day, to kind of bookend your day and have time and space to either do a little bit of meditation, maybe you're doing a little bit of journaling, maybe you're asking yourself some really basic questions. How am I feeling? What do I need today? How do I want to feel at the end of the day? It's really helpful to bookend your days with little conscious times where you're mindful about how you're feeling and what you want. Because as we work through the day, things can kind of start to bleed into one another, and we might just feel really reactive moving through the day. So I like to have these different moments of transition in order to support our body. So I start in the morning. Throughout the day, this concept of transition has been really, really helpful for me moving through really busy days. So the way that you can think about it, and the way that I like to explain it is, on our phone, if we have a bunch of apps up in the background, we might have been like ordering, Uber Eats or something, and there's our Facebook app, and then there's our Instagram or email, whatever. They're kind of like slowly under the surface, doing their thing, taking up some kind of energy. So I like to think of that as our brains when we're moving through our day. So say in the morning you have to get your kids ready and set up. Maybe you're doing some homeschooling. Maybe you have a meeting with someone. Maybe you are chatting with a family member after that. Maybe you have another type of appointment or something. And as you move through your day, you just move from one thing to the next. And you can kind of get to the point where you've got a ton of apps up in the background. And what they're doing is just kind of burning energy, right? You might be moving on to a task that is not teaching your kids something. Maybe it's a meeting, but you've still got that other piece there kind of lingering there. Like, oh, did I do that right? Like part of your brain is still there. What I find then is that we move through the end of our day, we're totally exhausted because we've got all the apps up. We've just been burning through our entire day, and it doesn't feel good. So what has been really helpful for me, and what I teach clients as well, is a practice of closing out the apps in our head and having little transitions between activities or moments. So like I said, it can start in the morning, and then say you have a meeting, maybe it's an hour-long meeting. After that meeting, before you rush into your next thing, even if you only have 30 seconds or a minute, take a second to be mindful of this transition. And you can envision closing out the app of that meeting, right? Like, I'm done. I did that. I'm moving on to the next thing. In between clients, what I'll do sometimes is maybe I'll just get up and stretch and move my body a little bit. Sometimes I'll go into the bathroom and just wash my hands and shake off the water and just think, okay, I'm letting that go. I'm done with that. I'm moving forward. Sometimes it's like smelling some essential oils. I have this peppermint thing right here, right? Just something that kind of signals I'm moving on. I'm closing out the app. And if you have more time in between that, that's great. You can go for a walk around the block. You can just do a little bit of breathing. You can put your hand on your chest and breathe into that for a second, and just, doesn't matter, just with intention, think, I'm letting that go and I'm moving on to what's next. I'm closing out that app. Then when you move into the next piece, you're able to be more present. You're able to be there. And you also have more bandwidth in your brain and your body to be able to, be present and handle what is in front of you. And of course, we're still going to be thinking about other things and, other things in our day and what we have to do. But this process of consciously closing out these apps or having moments of time to transition is amazing. And you will be astounded at how much you can feel a difference when you do that. So between everything, a little transition, a little movement, and it can be super small and it can be bigger, like we say. So that's throughout your day. That's throughout every meeting. That's throughout any kind of like chunk of time thing you're doing. And by the end of the day, you're going to find that you have a little more energy, you have a little more bandwidth. A really important transition, specifically for working from home, is the transition from working into the rest of your evening. And I developed a transition routine when I, like many years ago, when I was working in the hospital. And what I was finding is that I would, work an intense ICU shift and come home, and I was carrying everything with me still. There was a lot of emotional things, a lot of stress, a lot of drama, and I was carrying it with me. I could feel it in my body all the way home throughout my evening. I was thinking, running all these things in my head. And a practitioner at that time actually recommended to me, you need some kind of transition routine when you come back from the hospital and you come home. So what it looked like for me, simply because I was wearing scrubs and I wanted to shower, was a shower. And that's when I took my showers, was to just have this intentional time to transition and to say, whoa, I just went through a lot. I just did a lot. I'm consciously letting that go, closing out that app, shutting that down, and allowing myself to move into the rest of my day with more intention so that I can actually enjoy my evening and not have my brain be stuck in that other place, which ultimately was just burning me out. We think a lot about, we get to the end of the day, why do we feel so exhausted? Why do we feel so drained? And almost like a shell of a human is how I would feel sometimes. And it's because we have all these apps up in the background just burning energy. And for me, I just kind of let that carry me into my evening. So I would be exhausted, and then I'd go to bed, I'd get up in the morning, I'd do the same thing over and over again. I had a colleague whose transition routine looked like, before he walked into his home after his nursing shift, he just took a second to put his hand on his heart and almost said like a little prayer ritual that just said, I'm leaving what I just experienced behind and I'm moving into this evening with my family. That was it, before he crossed the threshold of walking in the door. So it can be sitting down and putting your legs up the wall. It can be doing some quick stretches. It can be lighting a candle. It can be having a cup of tea. It doesn't matter, as long as it's done with intention and you're consciously asking yourself to release that and to transition into a new period. So if you're working from home, this feels even a little harder because you might be in the same physical space. So the energy behind these things is even more important. You don't have that physical difference anymore, but you can still use this concept of transition, to help you move through this and shed whatever you need to shed. A really helpful piece from working from home is getting a little bit of movement in your body. For me, I sit at my computer and I work with clients, and I do a lot on the computer every day. So when I get up now, I can feel it in my hips. I can feel it in my body. So anything that you can do to incorporate a little bit of movement, whether it just be getting up and doing like a down dog stretch, or just kind of like shaking it out, jumping up and down, doing a little dance, whatever, just bringing a little bit of movement into the body, I find to be a really important transition routine, especially now if you are at home all the time. So I hope that helps. And like I said, it's a little bit different than some of the work from home pieces that we've been thinking about, but you'll be amazed if you start to integrate these transition routines and these mini moments of transition, how much you can release, how much you can let go of, and how much more present you actually are in the moment and in the task that at hand, so you can feel more productive, you can feel more available. And it really is almost an exercise in presence as well. And the more present that you can be, and the less we're holding on to to-do lists and worries and all of these things in any moment, the more we free ourselves up for energy to be more productive and to be able to let go of anything that might be holding us back or kind of weighing us down. So let me know how this goes for you to implement these transitions. I would love to hear in the comments what your transitions are, what works for you, because I want to gather a big like toolkit of transition routines so that I can share them with people, because we're all really different and all we need is the intention behind it. So let me know what you think. I'm excited to hear. And you can head over to on Instagram at livewell_Christina. You can head over there too. I'm going to be posting more about transitions over there, and I would love to connect with you and hear more in the comments there as well. All right, thank you, and I hope that everyone's doing okay working from home, and I'm sending lots of love to everyone out there doing your thing. I am here for you if you need any support. I am, like I said, I'm working from home. I am coaching clients. I've opened up even more spots than normal because we all need a lot of support and compassion and guidance right now. And so if you're in that place where you are feeling low energy, you're feeling lots of stress, you're dealing with symptoms of autoimmunity or chronic illness, and you need some support, I am absolutely here for you. I would love to help you. I always offer free 30-minute discovery calls so we can connect and I can hear more about you and your story, and we can see if we're a good fit for coaching or really how I can best support you through these times. So don't hesitate to reach out. You can head to my website. It's christinatidwell.com. And you can book in your free call there. Like I said, I have more openings now because it is a time of much greater need. And there are so many tools in the toolkit. That's what I want you to know. There's so many tools in the toolkit and so much we can do to really boost energy and to get you feeling better and to really cut through all this overwhelm and confusion and feelings of stuckness to help you get to where you want to be. So it's absolutely possible. Super happy to help. If you need anything, let me know. All right. Thank you.